$5 million, so this is for independent winemakers, smaller ones essentially. How much is this going to help? I mean, it's going to be a heck of a bigger hit than that, isn't it?
Thanks, Tom, for having me. You're exactly right. It's a massive hit to the wine industry on the whole. And Naked Wines has created the Stop the Squeeze campaign because for the last 8 years we have connected Australian wine drinkers with the best talented independent winemakers in Australia. And so for us, we had to do something because the China tariff is causing a situation where the wine industry will be affected, but the most hard hit will be the independent winemakers. They are not set up with the balance sheets to hold and store wine, to keep that and drip it out as the supply dissipates. They don't have the sales teams to actually move from China to South Korea, Hong Kong, UK and the US. And so we've created the Stop the Squeeze campaign, and it's actually threefold. The first is a certainty for winemakers, and that is our winemakers that we currently have with Naked Wines. We are hearing that out there already, there are contracts being dropped, there are orders being stopped. And so for us, the first thing we wanted to do was make sure that our winemakers that we currently have commitments with, we continue those commitments with. And that means that they can keep their contracts with grape growers. Second to that is the fair prices for all. This is a central tenet of what Naked Wines stands for and has done for the entire time that we've been in operation. We now are able to have the most efficient model to get wine directly from those winemakers, the most talented in Australia, to about 100,000 Australian customers that we have. And the third is the rescue fund, which you mentioned. That rescue fund, it's $5 million. It wasn't in our plan, and it's for all independent winemakers to apply for that have been affected by the recent China tariffs. It's doing our bit to make sure that some of that wine that comes back does have a home.
So I know there's been a few different campaigns for Australians to sort of, switch to Australian wine. How much will that actually fill the gap? I mean, for one thing, I'll note that we've got new recommendations of 10 standard drinks a week, so we don't want people going overboard on their health, if you like, just to save the wine industry. But the hit from China is going to be a lot more than we could ever bridge in terms of a gap. That's accurate, isn't it?
Yes, so the amount of wine that will be flowing back from China is about $1.2 billion in what is roughly a $7 billion domestic market. So the pressure and the downward pressure that's going to happen on the entire market, it's not yet known and apparent exactly what that will do, but it is clear that there will be pressure. And for the independent winemakers, we've got some of the best in Australia. Stewie Bourne, he's from Soul Growers. He was Barossa Winemaker of the Year this year. He's had contracts and orders being stopped from his exports to China immediately, which means he needs to now talk to his employees and the community that he works in and supports. So for us, we have to do our bit, and we're asking everybody to do their bit. We're leading the charge on that, and this is the way that we're doing it, is starting by the Stop the Squeeze campaign. We actually have access to over 100,000 of our members and our customers already, where we can take some of those independent winemakers and that have been affected and then be able to distribute that most efficiently to our current customers. And Naked Wines in Australia supports the Australian and New Zealand independent winemakers, but we also have sister companies globally. So we have actually up to 750,000 global customers that we could also take this wine to. So we are doing our bit to try and find a new home for some people who've been impacted, that are talented independent winemakers, which has always been why we have existed. So we wanted to get out there and say...
Yeah. That'll be the key one. So we're just running out of time. That'll be the key getting at to, around the rest of the world markets other than China. Alicia Kennedy, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Tom.